If we got a human here in the forest, don't tell anyone, just keep it in secret.
Flames in the alien forest. The woods were alive. Not with birdsong or insects, but with something else entirely. An undercurrent of strange energy that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I had crash-landed 2 nights ago on this unnamed world. My shuttle, crippled by a freak meteor storm, had spiraled into the dense forest and torn itself apart. I'd survived with bruises and a pack of supplies, but no working comms. Alone, I did what any human would do when night fell in a cold alien wilderness. Built a fire. The orange glow flickered against the towering trees, their bark glistening faintly as if coated in sap that pulsed with its own light. Smoke curled upward, and I leaned close to the flames, grateful for the warmth. My mind wandered to the stars above, to the fleet I might never rejoin. That was when I heard them. Chorus of whispers. Soft, rhythmic, like the rustling of leaves but sharper, voices. Froze. The fire crackled. My hand slipped toward the emergency blade on my belt. Out of the shadows, figures emerged. They moved silently, barefoot on the forest floor, their bodies tall and lithe, clad in woven hides and feathers that shimmered faintly with iridescence. Their skin was marked with glowing lines, bioluminescent patterns that pulsed gently with each step, like the heartbeat of the forest itself. Women. All of them. One stepped forward, her eyes bright emerald against the firelight. She carried a spear tipped with stone that glowed faintly as if alive. She gestured at the fire, then at me. Her voice was low, melodic, but edged with warning. "This is our woods." I raised my hand slowly, trying to show I meant no harm. "I didn't know. I'm just surviving." They exchanged quick words in their language, sharp and flowing like wind rushing through branches. Then the leader crouched beside the fire, her hand hovering over it. She studied the flames with wide-eyed intensity. One of the others, taller and more muscular, hissed something, pointing accusingly at me. The leader silenced her with a glance, then fixed her gaze on me again. "You bring skyfire," she said haltingly, as though testing human words she'd never used before. He nodded. "Yes, fire." I touched my chest. "Human." She touched hers. "Kaylin." The others murmured, their glowing markings shifting in color, like rippling constellations across their skin. Kaylin tilted her head, staring at me with unblinking focus. Then, to my shock, she sat down across from me by the fire. The rest of her tribe circled us warily, spears lowered but not thrown. The hours that followed were filled with hesitant gestures and broken words. They brought strange fruits and roots, placing them at the edge of the fire. In return, I showed them how I fed the flames, striking sparks with flint from my pack. Their awe was palpable. Each burst of sparks drew gasps and whispers, their glowing tattoos pulsing brighter. Fire was new to them. By the second night, the tribe no longer watched me from the shadows but sat openly around the blaze. Their laughter, wild and echoing, carried into the trees. I realized then that they were not only warriors but a people bound to the forest, their lives woven into the rhythms of the land. Kaylin remained closest. She studied me endlessly, her questions becoming more confident as she picked up my words. "Why burn tree? Why take flame from rock?" "It gives warmth," I explained. "Light. Protection." She nodded slowly, her glowing lines shifting from green to gold. "Protection," she repeated, tasting the word. On the third night they held a ritual. They brought me deeper into the woods, where an ancient tree towered high above all others. Its trunk was vast, its roots twisting like serpents. The women danced around it, their markings glowing brighter, sinking to some unheard rhythm. Kaelin motioned for me to light a small pile of dried leaves at the tree's base. When the flame sprang up, the women cried out, not in fear but in wonder. They pressed their palms to the earth, chanting. The tree itself seemed to hum, a low vibration in the ground. Kaelin approached me afterward, her face inches from mine. You bring spirit fire, she said softly. Not just flame. The forest listens. I didn't know what to say. But in her gaze, I saw no accusation. Only reverence. Days turned into a week. The fire became ours. Not just mine, not just theirs, but a shared hearth. I taught them how to cook with it, how to harden their spear tips in the flames, how to use smoke to drive away the insect swarms that plagued the nights. In return, they taught me the language of the forest. Which plants healed wounds, which waters were safe to drink, which calls in the night meant predator. I watched them move like shadows through the woods, hunting with effortless grace. And I watched Kaelin most of all. She carried herself like a storm contained in flesh, fierce, commanding, yet gentle when she chose to be. Her laughter was rare, but when it came, it was brighter than fire. One night, as the flames danced between us, she said, "You stay." The words struck me harder than any blow. "I can't," I whispered. "My people, they'll come for me." She reached across the fire, her fingers brushing mine. Her markings shifted to a soft, pulsing blue. "Fire-bearer," she murmured. "You are part of woods now." Conflict came sooner than I expected. At dawn, another tribe appeared. Men this time clad in darker hides, their markings blood-red. They shouted across the clearing, weapons raised. Kaelin and her women stood firm, spears leveled. I caught only fragments of their words, but the meaning was clear. They wanted me gone. An outsider. Danger. The men surged forward, but Kaelin raised her spear high, the tip glowing brilliantly. She shouted something fierce and defiant, then pointed at the fire behind me. To my shock, the men recoiled. They feared it. The women pressed closer around me, their formation tight, protective. Kaelin's voice rang out like thunder. "He is ours. Fire is ours." The men backed away, growling, then melted into the forest. The tension lingered, but they did not strike. When it was over, Kaelin turned to me, her eyes blazing. "You bring power. You bring change." That night, the tribe held another ritual, fiercer than before. They painted their bodies with ash from the fire, their glowing markings swirling like galaxies across their skin. They danced and sang, declaring themselves guardians of the flame. Kaelin pulled me into the circle, her hands gripping mine. Together we spun around the fire, our voices joining in raw, wordless sound. For the first time since my crash, I did not feel lost. Felt claimed. When the dance ended, Kaelin pressed her forehead to mine. "Flame-bearer," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Say, be part of woods. Be part of me." My heart pounded. The fleet, the stars, my old life. All of it felt distant, like a fading dream. Here there was fire. There was survival. There was her. I didn't answer with words. Instead, I held her hands tighter, letting the firelight speak for me. In the weeks that followed, the tribe and I became inseparable. Together we defended the forest against predators and rival clans. The fire became a symbol of unity, a sacred thing. The women treated me not as a prisoner or outsider, but as a brother, a teacher. And in Kaelin's case, something deeper. The forest was no longer strange. It was home. And as I sat one night, Kaylin's head resting against my shoulder, the fire crackling before us, I realized something. I had come to this world by accident, but staying, that was choice. Because sometimes a spark doesn't just warm the dark, starts a new life altogether.